This is Alan James speaking for Disrupt. These days I'm often asked why, if Disrupt is a peaceful organisation, our symbol is the fist. And I point out that it's a single fist. A single person standing up against the world. A fist that represents the fight for 5 basic freedoms. The freedom to profit from our labours. The freedom to speak the truth as we see it. The freedom to live a natural lifespan. The freedom to enjoy anonymity. And the freedom to walk away. 5 lines, 5 fingers, 5 freedoms bound together in a symbol of strength. As some of you will know, I spoke today to the people of Mankleypool, and apparently after I had left, there was some violence and looting. This always intrigues me because the crowd I speak to are not an angry mob. They're ordinary people like you and me who care about where our country is going and the character of the people taking us there. So why are this troublesome element always the focus of the news stories? Someone must have decided to make them the story. Someone, maybe, who'd rather you fear us than listen to us. Maybe the news has an agenda beyond impartiality. We do not condone violence and looting. We are not anarchists, but we do understand the anger of a voice silenced, and we believe that voice is worth fighting for. "10 weeks ago, Jeremy Donaldson took control of the national nightly news. He wanted to warn you about Altergrave and Grantham Downs and the dark science being conducted there, and he was right. There was a top-secret military lab at Grantham Downs and testing facilities in the tunnels deep under Altergrave. But they are no longer occupied. The project is complete or abandoned. The tunnels are collapsed. The labs are just empty rooms. Maybe one day we'll find out what they were doing there, and maybe we'll wish we hadn't. But without Jeremy Donaldson, we never would have known to look. And so today, we make him an officer of Disrupt in absentia. Stay strong, Jeremy. You have friends." "20 weeks ago, on the day international sanctions were imposed on the people of this country for the outrageous actions of their leaders, we are told a war began. But 10 weeks ago, on the night the blockade came into effect, another war began. When Jeremy Donaldson lost his life trying to get our message out to you, a war on truth was declared by advance. And Jeremy Donaldson was the first victim of that war. And so, by marking his grave, we claim Jeremy Donaldson as Disrupt's first martyr. And I fear, very sadly, that he may not be the last. But do not let one war distract you from another. Jeremy wouldn't have. Last night, freedom fighters working for Disrupt destroyed a farmer-side storage facility in the warehouse district of the capital. You'll no doubt hear it described as terrorism, but our intent was not to provoke fear, but thought. No one was killed in the operation, which destroyed both the warehouse and all its contents. But what were those contents? Drugs. Drugs used in transition centres. Drugs used to kill our elderly and now our sick as well. We know that this extermination cannot be easily stopped, but perhaps it can be slowed, or if you'll forgive me, disrupted. Farmerside are owned by Advance, but then again isn't everything these days. Advance make the glossy TV adverts, the drugs, the transition centres, and the law. No government should have that much power. The power to choose the moment of your death belongs to no one, not even you. The freedom to die is a myth. The only freedom worth fighting for is the freedom to live without fear, in the way you choose. More and more of you are joining Disrupt every day. And with 1,000 tiny acts of resistance, we are stepping closer to the inevitable fall of Advance. Today, it is a warehouse. One day soon, it will be the whole system. Today, I spoke to the people of Manklypool, and when I was finished, I stuck around, and I did something I would never have done in my old life. I listened. I listened to Jean, who told me that although she has financial security for her and her family for the first time in her life, she finds also, for the first time, that she can no longer sleep peacefully at night. I listened to Clive, who is preoccupied by the worry of being a burden on his children, and counting the days until they sit him down and tell him he is exactly that. I listened to Anna, who spends her lunchtimes in the school cafeteria eating alone, because she is the only girl in her class who isn't a go-getter. They have never met, these three, and they are of different ages and social backgrounds, but they share a common experience. They share a nagging feeling that there is something deeply wrong in our utopia. And I share that feeling. And maybe you do too. In the days and weeks ahead, I will be speaking throughout the country, but you don't need to wait for me. Disruptor everywhere. Every bar, every street corner. Look for us and you will find us. You are not alone. And Advance are not the only team. Jeremy Donaldson is to be put on trial. Let's all think about that for a moment. One of the nation's most respected and beloved truth seekers is to be put on trial. And for what? Waving a gun around he clearly had no intention of ever using. That Jeremy Donaldson had a very public breakdown is undeniable, but rather than law enforcement, wouldn't medical experts be the one to call? Of course, that was never going to happen. Jeremy Donaldson had a very public breakdown because he simply couldn't take what Advance were doing anymore. He knew that the national nightly news was being transformed from a bastion of truth into a frivolous chat show. And like a mother watching her child fall under a predator's spell, he couldn't stand by and allow that to happen. He chose to stand up to Advance, and their response will be to destroy him. He will be discredited, shamed, tried and convicted. They will break him as an example to us all. But today, Disrupt has named him an officer in absentia. We welcome him to our ranks. We are with you, Jeremy. You do not stand alone. "10 weeks ago, Jeremy Donaldson took control of the national nightly newsroom. He tried to warn us all about the now abandoned top-secret military lab at Grantham Downs. We may never know exactly what was being done there, but Jeremy Donaldson made us look. And this is just one of the reasons he is considered Disrupt's first martyr. And you know what? I think there's every chance he'd hate that. I only met him a few times in a professional context, and usually he exposed me for the grandstanding fool I was back then, but for some reason, I always enjoyed it. I liked him. I liked his wit, his jagged edges, and most of all, I liked his total dedication to the truth. He died for that truth, died as an individual, for freedom. And by adorning his resting place with our colours and our emblem, we will help to keep both him and his spirit of relentlessness alive. Rest well, Jeremy. You will not be forgotten. My friend let her 13-year-old son join the Go-Getters. He's occupied now. Busy, even. His room's never been tidier. But he keeps notebooks he won't let her read. And sometimes she catches him staring at her and last week she found him searching through her papers. When confronted, he always had a plausible answer, a good answer. But somehow it's too good, like it's been prepared in advance, or possibly by them. We want to know what the news will no longer tell us, and when we find out, we will tell you. We will hack into your news broadcasts, we will defend your right to information, we will resist, and we will disrupt. We are hearing stories of power fluctuations and what could be minor earthquakes throughout the continent. Stand by. We've lost contact with our benefactors in Urkistan and Konoslava. All our equipment seems to be resetting. Can we get this confirmed? Can we get this verified? I need this verified. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you are receiving this, but if you are, then you have to know. You have to know what's being done right now to our neighbours. This is unprecedented. Our government has committed multiple acts of mass destruction in our name. Nor do I care how you voted. You didn't vote for this. None of us did. This can't be. We are awaiting further news and, oh God. What if they respond? We are hearing stories of power fluctuations and what could be minor earthquakes throughout the continent. Stand by. We've lost contact with our benefactors in Urkistan and Konoslava. All our equipment seems to be resetting. Can we get this confirmed? Can we get this verified? I need this verified. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you are receiving this, but if you are, then you have to know. You have to know what's being done right now to our neighbours. This is unprecedented. Our government has committed multiple acts of mass destruction in our name. Nor do I care how you voted. You didn't vote for this. None of us did. This can't be. We are awaiting further news and, oh God. What if they respond?